They say something that makes your stomach drop. You can't quite name what's wrong, but something feels off. You ignore the feeling, tell yourself you're overreacting. Days later, you realize that phrase was warning you couldn't hear at the time. Words reveal character before actions do. The Stoics understood, pay attention to what people say, especially when they think you're not paying attention. Certain phrases aren't just red flags, they're deal breakers disguised as conversation. This isn't about being paranoid or cutting everyone off at first misstep. It's about recognizing patterns that predict how someone will treat you and protecting yourself accordingly. Epictetus taught, guard your inner citadel. Marcus Aurelius surrounded himself with people who elevated him, not diminished him. The Stoics knew when to walk away from what undermines your peace. Today, we'll explore 7 things that, when someone says them to you, mean you should walk away immediately. From subtle manipulation to obvious disrespect. Thing number 4 sounds harmless at first. People say it all the time, but it's one of clearest signs you're dealing with someone who will never respect your boundaries. By the end, you'll recognize red flags you've been ignoring. You'll know which phrases mean walk away now, not later when damage is done. If you've ever ignored your gut about someone and regretted it, this is why. Trust what you're about to hear. Let's begin. Thing number 1, you're too sensitive. When someone tells you you're too sensitive, they're not giving feedback. They're refusing accountability. They did something that hurt you. Instead of acknowledging it, they're making your reasonable reaction the problem. This phrase shifts blame from their behavior to your response entirely. This is manipulation tactic that invalidates your feelings and makes you question your own perception of reality. If your hurt is too sensitive, their disrespect becomes your overreaction. They train you to accept poor treatment by labeling normal boundaries as excessive sensitivity. Over time, you stop bringing up legitimate concerns because you don't want to be called too sensitive again. That's exactly what they want. Silence about their behavior while it continues. Anna brought up legitimate concern with close friend who consistently showed up late and cancelled plans last minute. It had been happening for months. Her time mattered too. Friend's response, "You're too sensitive. It's not that big a deal. You take everything so seriously." Anna felt confused. Maybe she was being too sensitive. Maybe it wasn't big deal. She dropped it. Pattern continued. Friend cancelled again 2 weeks later. Anna brought it up again, more carefully this time. Same response. Too sensitive, overreacting, need to relax more. Anna stopped bringing it up entirely, started accepting unreliable behavior because pointing it out made her too sensitive, adjusted her expectations downward to avoid that label. One day, friend cancelled important event at last minute, something that actually mattered deeply to Anna. She'd asked friend weeks in advance to keep day clear. Friend forgot, made other plans, cancelled 2 hours before. Anna finally saw pattern clearly. Friend had never respected her time, her feelings, or her boundaries. Too sensitive was just tool to avoid accountability while continuing disrespectful behavior. Marcus Aurelius wrote about maintaining dignity and boundaries with people. The Stoics didn't teach accepting all treatment without response. They taught discerning which battles matter and protecting your peace from those who diminish it. Epictetus, you're responsible for your reactions, not others' actions. But that doesn't mean accepting disrespect. It means choosing not to engage with those who won't respect you. Protection, not acceptance. When someone tells you you're too sensitive instead of addressing your concern, that's all the information you need. They're showing you they won't respect your feelings or boundaries going forward. Don't defend your sensitivity. Don't try to prove your concern is legitimate. Don't explain why you're hurt. Just walk away from people who dismiss your feelings rather than respect them. Your energy is better spent on people who value you. You're not too sensitive for having boundaries. You're not overreacting for expecting respect. Anyone who consistently makes you feel like your reasonable expectations are unreasonable doesn't belong in your life. Period. Your boundaries are valid. Their dismissal of them reveals everything. Dismissing your feelings is a clear sign of disrespect. But another phrase is even more insidious. It sounds like care while actually being control. That's thing number 2. Thing number 2, if you really loved me, you would. When someone says, if you really loved me, you would, they're not expressing a need. They're issuing an ultimatum disguised as emotion. They're making your love conditional on compliance with their demands. Love becomes currency they use to purchase your behavior. This isn't request, it's emotional blackmail with affection as the hostage. This phrase weaponizes your feelings against you. It creates impossible tests where proving your love requires sacrificing your boundaries, values, or well-being. No matter what you do, it's never enough, because the goal isn't about love, it's about control. They're training you to equate love with obedience. Real love doesn't demand proof through compliance. Real love respects boundaries. This phrase reveals someone who sees relationships as transactions, where your love is payment for their demands. Jake's partner started using this phrase 6 months into relationship. Small things at first. If you really loved me, you'd skip that work event to spend evening with me. If you really loved me, you'd stop talking to that friend who doesn't like me. Each time, Jake complied, proved his love by doing what was asked, but demands escalated. Stop going to gym so often, check in every few hours, share all passwords, each time preceded by same phrase, if you really loved me. Jake realized he'd stopped seeing friends entirely, stopped pursuing hobbies, stopped making decisions without approval first. Everything required proving his love through compliance. One day, partner said, if you really loved me, you'd quit your job and move across country with me. No discussion, no consideration of his career, just demand wrapped in love language. Jake finally saw a pattern clearly. His love was never in question. It was being used as a tool to control every aspect of his life. Proof of love had become proof of obedience. Seneca wrote, "True love is freely given, not extracted through manipulation." The Stoics understood that healthy relationships are built on mutual respect and freedom, not control disguised as affection. Marcus Aurelius chose relationships with people who respected his autonomy while supporting his growth. Epictetus taught, "Don't let others use your emotions to control your choices." Love expressed through demands isn't love, it's power play using emotion as weapon. When someone uses, "if you really loved me," to manipulate your choices, recognize it immediately as control tactic. Don't defend your love. Don't try to prove it by complying. Real love never requires you to sacrifice your boundaries to prove its existence. Walk away from anyone who makes love conditional on obedience. Your love is not payment for their approval. It's gift, and gifts aren't owed. Love that requires constant proof through sacrifice isn't love, it's transaction. Someone who truly loves you never makes you choose between your well-being and their approval. They respect your boundaries because they respect you. If you've ever had someone use "if you really loved me" to control your choices, drop "my love is not payment" below. Your freedom might inspire someone still proving themselves through compliance. Emotional blackmail disguised as love is manipulation. But another phrase hides cruelty behind humor. That's thing number 3. Thing number 3. I was just joking after saying something hurtful. When someone hurts you, then immediately says, "I was just joking." They're not clarifying intent. They're escaping accountability. They said something cruel. You reacted. Now they're rewriting what happened to make your pain the problem instead of their words. This phrase gives them permission to hurt you while denying they did anything wrong. This is cruelty with plausible deniability built in. They get to say whatever they want, then decide afterward whether it was joke or serious based on your reaction. If you laugh, they meant it, but got away with it. If you're hurt, suddenly it was just joke and you're too sensitive for not finding it funny. They're training you to accept disrespect disguised as humor. Over time, you stop objecting to hurtful comments because you don't want to be the one who can't take a joke. That's exactly what they want. Free rein to hurt you without consequences. Maya's co-worker made cutting comments about her appearance, her work, her ideas in front of others regularly, always followed by that laugh and, "I was just joking, relax." When Maya said the comments hurt, co-worker acted shocked. "Can't you take a joke? Everyone else thinks it's funny. You're being too serious." Maya started laughing along even when comments stung. Didn't want to be the uptight one who couldn't handle workplace banter. Co-workers' comments got meaner. Her weight, her relationship status, her capabilities, each time ending with "just kidding" and that dismissive laugh. One day in meeting, co-worker made particularly cutting remark about Maya's project in front of leadership. Room went quiet. Maya felt humiliated. Co-worker immediately, "I was just joking. Maya knows I'm kidding." Maya finally recognized pattern clearly. There was nothing funny about any of it. Jokes are meant to bring joy to everyone, including target. These comments were meant to diminish her while giving co-worker plausible deniability. Just joking was shield that protected cruelty while making her the problem for not laughing at her own humiliation. Marcus Aurelius wrote about discerning people's true character through their words and actions. The Stoics understood, humor that demeans isn't humor, it's aggression wearing mask. Epictetus taught that words reveal intent, regardless of how they're framed afterward. Seneca. Cruelty disguised as jest is still cruelty. The reframing doesn't change what was said, only who bears responsibility for the hurt it caused. When someone hurts you, then hides behind, "I was just joking," that's all you need to know. They're showing you they value their freedom to hurt you more than they value your feelings. Don't laugh along to prove you can take a joke. Don't defend why it hurt. Just walk away from people who think your pain is punchline. Real humor doesn't require someone else's humiliation. Real jokes don't need "just kidding" as escape hatch. If someone's jokes consistently hurt you, they're not joking. They're testing how much disrespect you'll accept while smiling. Anyone who makes you the butt of jokes then blames you for not laughing doesn't respect you. They're counting on your politeness to tolerate their cruelty. Cruelty disguised as humor is still cruelty. But another phrase is even more insidious. It makes you doubt your own memory and reality. That's thing number 4. Thing number 4. You're remembering it wrong. When someone tells you you're remembering it wrong, they're not correcting a misunderstanding. They're rewriting history. Something happened. You remember it clearly. They're telling you your memory is faulty, your perception is flawed, your reality is incorrect. This isn't about different perspectives. This is about making you doubt what you know to be true. This is gaslighting, deliberate manipulation of your reality to make you question your own mind. They're erasing what actually happened and replacing it with version that serves them better. If they can make you doubt your memory, they can make you doubt everything. Your judgment, your perceptions, your sanity. Over time, you stop trusting yourself and start relying on their version of events. That's exactly the goal. Destabilize your reality until you need them to tell you what's true. Chen had clear conversation with business partner about dividing responsibilities. They agreed Chen would handle client relations, partner would handle operations. Verbal agreement, but clear. Weeks later, partner told client Chen wasn't authorized to make decisions. Chen confronted partner. We agreed I'd handle clients. Partner's response, you're remembering it wrong. We never said that. You must be confused about what we discussed. Chen questioned himself. Maybe he did misunderstand. Maybe he heard what he wanted to hear instead of what was actually said. Pattern repeated. Agreements Chen remembered clearly became things that never happened, according to partner. Conversations Chen recalled precisely became figments of his confused memory. Partner's version was always different and always more favorable to partner. Chen started keeping written records of everything. Email confirmations, text summaries, notes after every conversation. When partner again said, "You're remembering wrong," Chen pulled up written record from day of conversation. Partner didn't apologize, didn't acknowledge being wrong, just got angry that Chen didn't trust him enough to take his word. Made Chen the problem for needing documentation instead of accepting partner's version of reality. Chen finally saw pattern clearly. This wasn't about memory at all, it was about control. Making him doubt his own mind meant partner could reshape reality whenever it suited him. Every "you're remembering wrong" was attack on Chen's grip on what was real. Epictetus taught, guard your ability to discern reality clearly. The Stoics valued truth above comfort, clarity above convenience. Marcus Aurelius wrote about maintaining clear perception despite others' attempts to distort it. Seneca. Those who manipulate your reality seek to control your responses. Your memory is your anchor to truth. Anyone who tries to convince you it's unreliable is trying to cut that anchor and set you adrift in their version of events. When someone consistently tells you you're remembering wrong, especially about things that benefit them to rewrite, believe your memory over their revision. Don't let them make you doubt what you know happened. Document conversations with people who have history of rewriting them. Walk away from anyone who makes questioning your own sanity part of regular interaction. Your reality is not up for debate with people who benefit from changing it. If they're rewriting what happened last week, they'll rewrite what happens today when it suits them tomorrow. Someone who manipulates your memory of the past will manipulate your perception of the present. Trust your mind. Protect your reality. If someone's been making you doubt your own memory and reality, subscribe so we can keep building wisdom that protects your mind from manipulation. Gaslighting your reality is severe manipulation, but another phrase weaponizes invisible others against you. That's thing number 5. Thing number 5. Everyone thinks you're. When someone says, everyone thinks you're, they're weaponizing invisible others against you. They're recruiting phantom army of people who supposedly share their negative opinion about you. You can't defend yourself against everyone because everyone doesn't exist. This isn't feedback from concerned group. This is isolation tactic disguised as collective concern. This phrase is designed to make you feel outnumbered and alone. If everyone thinks you're wrong, difficult, annoying, then maybe you are the problem. Maybe you need to change to satisfy this mysterious everyone. The goal is making you feel isolated and desperate for approval, specifically their approval, since they're generously informing you what everyone else is thinking. They're using invisible consensus to pressure you into compliance. Over time, you become so focused on what everyone supposedly thinks that you lose track of what you actually think and who you actually are. Sophia's manager started using this phrase during performance reviews. Everyone thinks you're not a team player. Everyone feels you're too direct in meetings. Everyone says you don't take feedback well. Sophia asked who specifically said these things. Manager wouldn't name anyone, just kept referencing this mysterious everyone who had concerns. Sophia started changing her behavior to satisfy everyone. Stayed quieter in meetings, agreed more readily, softened her communication style, checked with manager constantly to make sure she wasn't offending everyone again. One day, co-worker mentioned how much they appreciated Sophia's directness in meetings. Another said they valued her honest feedback. Third told her the team respected her clarity and decisiveness. Sophia realized everyone didn't exist. Managers, everyone was just manager. All those concerns attributed to mysterious group were actually managers' personal preferences disguised as collective opinion. Manager wanted Sophia quieter, more agreeable, easier to manage. So manager invented everyone to make isolated opinions sound like overwhelming consensus. Sophia had changed herself completely to satisfy phantom group that didn't exist. Manager had used invisible others to control her without taking responsibility for being the one who wanted her to change. Marcus Aurelius warned against being swayed by opinions of unnamed masses. The Stoics taught, evaluate criticism based on who delivers it and their motives, not how many invisible people supposedly agree. Epictetus. Don't let others use phantom consensus to control your behavior. Seneca understood manipulation tactic of attributing personal opinions to mysterious everyone. It absolves speaker of accountability while multiplying pressure on target. When someone tells you everyone thinks something about you, ask specifically who. If they won't name names, you have your answer. Everyone is just them trying to sound like more. Don't change yourself to satisfy invisible consensus that doesn't exist. Don't defend yourself against phantom critics who never actually spoke. Walk away from people who use unnamed others as weapon against you. Real concerns come with real names attached. Vague everyone is manipulation tactic, not genuine feedback. If they won't tell you who everyone is, it's because everyone is nobody. They're using invisible army to fight battle they don't want to fight alone. Your job isn't satisfying phantom group. It's recognizing when someone manufactures consensus to manipulate you. Using invisible others to isolate you is manipulation, but another phrase weaponizes past kindness as future debt. That's thing number 6. Thing number 6. After everything I've done for you. When someone says, after everything I've done for you, they're not reminiscing about generosity. They're presenting a bill. Every kind thing they did is suddenly transformed into debt you owe. This phrase weaponizes past kindness as leverage for present compliance. What you thought was gift freely given was actually loan with interest that comes due whenever they need something from you. This reveals how they viewed the relationship all along. Every favor, every help, every act of kindness was investment they expected return on. They kept mental ledger of everything they did, waiting for moment to cash it in. Real generosity has no strings attached. Real kindness doesn't come with future obligations. This phrase shows you they were never giving freely. They were building arsenal of guilt to use against you later. Over time, you feel perpetually indebted, always owing them something, never able to say no because of everything they've done. That's exactly the dynamic they want. Permanent power through manufactured debt. Liam's parent helped him through difficult time years ago. Financial support when he lost job, place to stay during transition, genuine help when he genuinely needed it. Liam was grateful, thanked them repeatedly, got back on his feet and tried to repay in various ways over years. 5 years later, Liam made life decision parent disagreed with, wanted to relocate for career opportunity. Parent's response, after everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me. I helped you when you had nothing. Now you're abandoning me. Liam felt crushed with guilt. Maybe parent was right. Maybe he did owe them his life decisions after their help years ago. He considered cancelling opportunity to make parent happy. Then he realized help given 5 years ago was being used as weapon today. Not just for this decision, for every decision parent disagreed with. Changing careers parent didn't approve of. Dating someone parent didn't like. Making choices parent wouldn't make. Each time met with same phrase, after everything I've done for you. Liam understood finally, the help was never free. It came with invisible contract that his life decisions required parents' approval forever. Every act of kindness was entry and ledger that could be invoked whenever parent wanted control. Gratitude had been weaponized into obligation without end date. Seneca wrote extensively about true generosity. It expects nothing in return and keeps no record of what was given. The Stoics understood difference between kindness freely given and manipulation disguised as help. Marcus Aurelius gave without expectation of debt. Epictetus taught genuine help liberates the receiver. It doesn't bind them in permanent obligation. Past kindness invoked as present leverage reveals it was never kindness at all. It was investment in future control. When someone weaponizes past help to control present choices, that tells you everything about why they helped originally. Real generosity doesn't create debt. Don't let guilt over past kindness trap you in future compliance. Walk away from people who treat every favor as loan they can call in whenever convenient. Gratitude is appropriate. Permanent obligation is not. If kindness comes with strings attached, it's not kindness. It's transaction you never agreed to. You don't owe your life to someone for helping you once. Help that demands endless repayment wasn't help. It was down payment on control. Weaponizing kindness as debt is manipulation, but one final phrase is perhaps most destructive of all. It uses fear to keep you trapped. That's thing number 7. Thing number 7. You'll never find anyone better than me. When someone tells you you'll never find anyone better than them, they're not expressing confidence. They're installing fear. They're planting seed that you're lucky to have them, that leaving means downgrade, that your options are limited and they're the best you'll ever do. This isn't statement of value. It's threat disguised as fact, designed to keep you from leaving by convincing you there's nowhere better to go. This phrase reveals profound insecurity masked as superiority. Someone truly confident in their value doesn't need to convince you that you can't do better. They demonstrate value through how they treat you. This phrase is insurance policy against you leaving. They're trying to make you afraid of being alone, afraid of the unknown, afraid that maybe they're right and you'll regret walking away. Over time, you start believing it. You stay, not because relationship is good, but because you're terrified of what comes after. That fear is exactly what keeps you trapped in a situation that doesn't serve you. Nina's partner said this during every argument for 3 years. When she brought up legitimate concerns about how she was being treated, when she mentioned feeling unhappy, when she even hinted at the word leave. The response was always same. You'll never find anyone better than me. Who else would put up with you? You're lucky I'm still here. Nina started believing it. Maybe she was difficult. Maybe she was lucky he stayed despite her flaws. Maybe leaving meant ending up alone because no one else would want her. The phrase worked exactly as intended. She stayed because she was afraid he was right. One day, friend asked simple question. If he's so great, why do you cry so often? Why do you feel so small around him? If you're so lucky to have him, why does it feel like punishment? Nina couldn't answer. She realized she'd been so convinced she couldn't do better that she'd stopped noticing she was doing worse than being alone. The phrase had worked perfectly, kept her trapped in relationship that diminished her by making her fear anything else would be worse. She left and discovered being alone was infinitely better than being with someone who made her feel worthless. Better was everywhere. It was just being free from person who convinced her she'd never find it. Epictetus taught, your worth is not determined by someone else's opinion of your options. The Stoics understood that anyone who needs to convince you you're lucky to have them is revealing they know you could do better and are trying to prevent you from realizing it. Marcus Aurelius surrounded himself with people who elevated him. He didn't keep people who diminished him by claiming to be his best option. Seneca. Freedom begins when you stop believing someone else's assessment of your worth. When someone tells you you'll never find better, they're really saying they're afraid you will. Don't let fear of imagined scarcity keep you in confirmed misery. Walk away from anyone who keeps you through fear rather than value. The phrase itself proves they're not as irreplaceable as they claim. Irreplaceable people don't need to say it. Someone who actually treats you well doesn't need to convince you that you can't do better. Their actions prove it daily. Someone who treats you poorly needs you to believe you're stuck with them. That's why they say it. You'll find better the moment you refuse to accept worse. Sometimes better is being alone. Sometimes it's someone who doesn't need to threaten you with scarcity to keep you. We've explored 7 phrases that mean walk away immediately. You're too sensitive. If you really loved me, you would. I was just joking. You're remembering it wrong. Everyone thinks you're. After everything I've done for you, you'll never find anyone better than me. If these phrases are helping you recognize patterns you've been ignoring, subscribe so we can keep building wisdom that protects your peace. These aren't minor disagreements. They're manipulations that erode your reality, boundaries, and worth. When you hear them, trust what they reveal. Walk away. Protect your dignity. Guard your peace. Stay aware. Stay protected. Stay stoic.